Hi my dog lovers, this is Dr. D. If you are here because your dog has a hot spot, I would love you to listen to this video because it's gonna totally turn your hotspot world upside down, and mainly it's going to help your dog, so please stay tuned. For years, I lived in oblivion, believing that hotspots were the results of hot weather and swimming and scratching and sometimes fleas. And I've been taught that I should be using antibiotics and steroid medications and cream, and once you start this medication cycle, often they don't even recover. In the course of being a veterinarian, I've seen at least 80% of dogs that are suffering from hotspots being misdiagnosed with allergies and conditions that actually are not true, they're not real. So I started looking at different ways of connecting the dots and discovered that there is actually a very interesting connection between hotspots and skin, deficiencies of minerals and nutrients, and your dog's spine. Let's first have a look at what hotspots really are. They're an infection of the surface layer of the skin. They're definitely superficial, and there's usually bacteria playing a role. The problem often is that people see skin condition as a condition of the surface of the body and never connected to the internal issues. All the books said the same thing, that we should use antibiotics and antihistamines, and that hotspots are a form of skin infection that has to be treated with these medications. Most of the time, the problems get better, but then they come back, and I'm sure that if you have a dog with skin conditions and especially hotspots, you know that they like to come back. And so what I started doing, I started to observe the unique pattern of the skin lesions and their distribution, whether it's the head, or it can be on the feet, it can be on the chest or torso. And I started feeling and looking around these areas, and I discovered something really surprising. Those regions that have hotspots actually also have another element, that is a local muscle injury or some sort of sprain or strain, and dogs would be reacting when I touch them in the area of the hotspot. So I started seeing the connection between muscle injuries and hotspots, some sort of back discomfort or back pain. So they really brought me onto this idea that maybe hotspots are actually caused by injuries, whether it's back or muscle. If your dog suffers from hotspots, go through the following process that I have outlined here to make it simple. First, I would like you to examine the spine and see if there are any sore spots. If you see that there are any sore spots, and it's really easy, you take your thumbs and you kind of go along your dog's spine and press quite hard, you'll see that some of the spots and segments will be actually more sensitive. So you press in that area, and then you kind of go with your hands along the ribs if it's on the chest, or go kind of in the, I'm just gonna say 45-degree away on the side of the body to the back. And you'll see that the hotspot area will be connected to the sore spot in the spine. So that is a first part of your examination. So note any discomfort, any sensitivity to touch, any heat, any skin twitching, because those are all symptoms of possible muscle or spinal injury. If you do find these sensitive spots on your dog's spine or on the muscles, you either have to find an experienced animal chiropractor or physiotherapist, acupuncturist, IMS, intramuscular needle practitioner, or massage therapist to address this area. You really have to make sure that you will address your dog's spine if your dog has hotspots, because otherwise it's going to be a repeated chronic condition, and you will see what most dog lovers see, that hotspots just come back and over until your dog ends up on steroid medication and repeated antibiotics, and it'll affect her or his general health. If your dog's back condition is really severe and there is recurrent hotspots despite you taking him or her to the chiropractic or physiotherapist and other practitioners, I recommend doing back x-rays, because they may give you an idea what else is happening. There are also other problems that lead to back injuries, and we really need to talk about it at least a little bit. Many dogs out there love to chase toys, balls, and they slip and slide, and they have back injuries. And I keep reminding my clients and other dog lovers that the chuck toys are not necessarily the best for your dog, because dogs do run and they love to sprint, but they don't sprint 30 times in 30 minutes. So it is really important to keep in mind that exercise has to be more gradual. Jogging, running, strengthening, balancing exercises, all that is actually important. Really strenuous sprinting and running exercises and play is actually detrimental to your dog's health and also can cause skin disease and hot spots. You may be watching this video because your dog may have a hot spot right now, and this is what you need to do. Sometimes, if the hot spot is really painful, you may need to actually use topical anesthesia or sedation, and such condition obviously needs to be treated at the veterinary office. But if your dog has hot spot that seems to be sort of under control, but it's scabby and oozy and you just found out, what you can do is really simple. First, check the sensitivity around the skin. Then take the clippers and try to clip a margin of skin and try to clip the hair around maybe 1 inch. So there should be no changes on the skin in the area that you clip. And be gentle, make sure that your dog is comfortable and that you have abundance of treats around. When you clip the hair around, then you'll get an idea whether there is a thick scab or thinner scab. And I usually recommend clipping the hair even around and on the scab. And if it's not possible, then just soak the area for 5, 10, 15 minutes and then start clipping again. When you have all the hair off, then you start washing the wound, and I just recommend taking a shower hose and shower head and just kind of rinsing it off until you see nothing than skin and the hot spot. Now it may look a little raw, it may even bleed, but if you keep calm and if you do a good job, I think that your dog will feel much more comfortable even right after. So I do recommend doing this for maybe 3 to 5 days until there's just thin scab, because if you leave the thick scab on, it'll harbor bacteria and it'll cause problems. So this is something that most people do not know. You can't leave the scab on if it's thick and if it's oozing and if it's crusty, okay? When you're done, I recommend you taking a sterile piece of gauze and drying the area, or you can take a very clean towel and do the same and apply skin spray. In the United States it's called skin spray, and in Canada it's called healing solution. And just spray it on the area maybe 2 or 3 times a day. And what it does, it actually prevents the bacteria from growing on the skin and makes the skin heal much faster, and it also reduces the pain and discomfort and the swelling. I used to spend a lot of time with my grandfather, a herbalist, and he collected herbs, and I learned about what they do and what they're used for, and I always loved nature and nature's healing. So I came up with this formula, and we've been using it in the practice for many years now. Since skin spray, I have not been really using antibiotics for anything skin, with some very, very rare exceptions. Thin scab formation is usually fine and it's a sign of healing. When there is a thick scab more than 1 millimeter, then it means that you have to wash the area and try to kind of soak the scab off, because otherwise it would harbor bacteria. So now I've told you about how you have to examine your dog's back and how you treat hotspots, but there is one area that is really important for the hotspots not to recur. Every dog, every person has certain needs of nutrients, whether it's protein, amino acids, omega oils, minerals, all that, vitamins, all that is really important. Many people don't realize that even if they feed natural food and they don't feed kibble, which I never recommend, the food is made of ingredients that are usually depleted. And the reason is that the soils around the world are now overused and depleted, and they lack minerals. So it is super important for us to give the essential supplements, and if you go on our pages and look what the essential supplements are, you will read the reviews and testimonials, you'll see what changes people experience. To be honest, I never thought that our clients and customers and dog lovers will see the changes they're seeing. I knew that minerals, vitamins, and other nutrients are super important, but I didn't expect the level of the transformation when they start giving them. So the first thing that you need to do is to take your dog off processed food. This is an absolute must. And we do have a registration for our course on natural diet feeding. The second thing that you need to do is to start looking into natural supplements. I have created my line because I realized that ingredient sourcing is a real tricky thing, and not all the companies are honest. So I finally ended up formulating my own supplements because I wanted to give my dog Sky and my patients something that I could trust. But there are other supplements, and you can just read and make a decision what to give. There is one more thing that I would like you to think about and remember. So many dogs are misdiagnosed with allergies that it's mind-blowing. So many of my colleagues just default automatically to allergic condition of some sort when dogs coming back with hotspot, but they don't really address the core of the conditions, and that is spinal misalignments, muscle issues, deficiencies of minerals and nutrients, and poor food. So thank you so much for listening and watching this video. I know that I've given you a lot of information here, but I hope that your dog will never need to suffer from hotspots from now on, and that your dog will be comfortable very soon. All I want to say, please share this video with others, because there are many dogs that suffer from conditions that they would not need to suffer from if they watch this video, or their people watch this video. And good luck with everything, and give your dog a hug for me. Take care. Cheers.